Hey, it's been a while. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, stepping into your life to speak with you, to give you some tools, some techniques, some hope and help as you go through the trauma of divorce. Tonight, I'm going to talk about after divorce. As you go through this process, you're going to get to a point to where you have finished the divorce, and then it is a very important time for you to be really intentional about creating your new life. Now, I have multiple resources to do that. And one of them is 30 Days of Healing After Divorce. I continue to get a lot of really good feedback on this book. It gives you one thought, a couple of questions, a story, and it helps you begin to look at all those areas of your life that do need healing. We're going to talk about healing a little bit today. Then also the second in the Suddenly Single series is Building Your Future After Divorce. This is an 8-week workbook that you go through. You can do it with people, you can do it privately, but it allows you to look at every aspect of your life and have a plan for it. And then at the end, you have a new life declaration that you have formed using all of these 8 weeks that allow you to have a vision and a focus about a future. Now, for many of you, you may be in the throes and the thick of it in divorce and you can't see a future. And I get that. But I also want you to hold on because you will get to a point to where you are finished looking in the past. You're finished looking at where you're at in this situation, and you are going to need and want, I hope, to begin to look for a future. So let me give you just a few points on that today that I hope that are going to be of help. So, new life after divorce, that's what our title is today. I as I look through the scriptures, there are two areas that I think are really helpful for you as you go through divorce. One of them is Proverbs. The book of Proverbs has 31 proverbs in it, and it is a book of wisdom that allow you to clarify maybe your core values, your worldview, what's important to you. It is a book of wisdom, and great wisdom is in there. And then there's a book of Psalms. The book of Psalms understands. There is a lot of grieving in the book of Psalms, a lot of lamenting, a lot of bearing of the soul, which is so necessary as we grieve. And those are two of the points that I'm going to talk about today. But one of them in Proverbs, when we get to that point to where we are going to begin looking for a future, this is a verse that I'd like for you to keep in mind. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. What I love about this verse is that it means it's time to stop looking where you're at. It's time to stop looking what is behind you and begin to fix your eyes to have a focus for a future. So that's in the book of Proverbs, which I highly encourage that you read this verse and others to help you as you think, okay, my mind can so easily wander back to the past and the things that have happened and the injustices and all of those. And we can get stuck very easily. We can get stuck. We don't want to get stuck. We want to begin to have a future after going through divorce. So, just 3 points that I want to talk to you about, and one of them are necessary for you to step into your future, and one of them is to grieve. It's important that you do not stuff it, you do not deny it, but you acknowledge it. In fact, in my support groups, I even ask them to write out a list of all of the losses that they have had, and there are many as you go through divorce. The loss of an intact family, the loss of the dream, the plan that you had of retirement and a future. So all of those are losses, and they must be grieved. Grief is a necessary component of this process, and it is just a really important one. So don't skip it, don't try, because it's hard. It's hard, it's painful to grieve. And yet, these losses need to be acknowledged so that you can begin to move forward. The next one, number 2, is accept. Accept what is left. And that may be your beautiful children. What is now? What good came out of this relationship? Accept where you're at financially, accept where you're at as a single person, because until you get to where you can accept, and again, not deny, not bash the other person, but really just have a time. And you may need help with this. You may need someone to sit down with you, a therapist, a pastor, a friend, and help you to process accepting this, because it's not easy to accept. And that's why that grief is so important as one of the first steps. And then we have to learn to accept. Here's where I am. Here's where I am financially. Here's where I am in my life space. Here's where I am as a single parent. Here's where I am. And we do this because then we can begin building to move forward. So, so important that it is that we get to a point to where we accept. And point number 3, we've got to be intentional about our healing. Oh, how many times have you heard me say that? If you've been listening to me for any length of time, it is one of the things that is just so important. You're not going to heal on your own. You're not. You are going to have to be intentional to join that support group, to get that therapist, to have someone who's going to walk alongside you and guide you. Now, these books are certainly a huge help. And they're also books that you can do with someone. In fact, I hold groups and go through this book. It's really, really helpful. This one as well. You can go through with someone, with a group, with one person, but allow yourself to be intentional about your healing. Get help, get the direction that you need. So if you've been listening to me for a while, you also know one of my lines is don't go through this alone. Don't go through this alone. We were meant for community, and we cannot heal on our own. We really can't. We can't even grieve on our own. We need someone to come around us. So desperately we need. And we do that and acknowledge that in our group, my group. I do that in coaching. I can't in a mediation. That's not appropriate for that. But you do need that support. Someone that's going to grieve with you. You do need someone to help you accept where you're at. It's surreal and it's mind-boggling that all of a sudden you were married 20 years or 30 years or 5 years or whatever it was, and all of a sudden you found yourself single. You have to accept where you are. And then you can begin the process, a beautiful process of intentionally working on your healing. So, 3 points for you today. And I don't know where you're at in this process. Perhaps you are finished with the divorce and you're finding yourself stuck. But then I do want to encourage you to pick up these books. They're incredibly inexpensive and such great tools to help you work through this process, these processes. Don't go through this alone. Connect with me if I can be of help. And work intentionally on your healing. Go to the book of Proverbs for wisdom. Go to the book of Psalms to grieve with you, to put into words what you are feeling. It's so, so very helpful. One final scripture I'll give to you. The Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we don't know what to pray. But the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. How many times have you been in situations or had that pain in your heart that you simply could not put into words? It was too profound. It was too deep. You just did not have the words to describe it. That is the time to enter into prayer and say, God, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I don't know what's going on in my mind and heart. Let me pray this to you. Let me ask you to come near to me, to comfort me, to give me direction, because I don't know how to pray. I don't know how to pray. And God honors those prayers so beautifully. He really does. Don't go through this alone. God is on your side. Let me know if I can be of help. Take care of you. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through and after the trauma of divorce. Have a good evening.